experience heaven on earth? If your answer is yes, I encourage you to come and be a part of one of our two worship experiences, 7 a.m., 9 o'clock a.m. each Sunday morning, and 1 hour Bible class every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. If you come, I promise you, your life will never be the same. We must protect and guard ourselves from allowing ourselves to get caught up in all of the stuff on the internet that does not pertain to God's purpose for our life. The internet is the most powerful means of communication we have. I believe if Jesus was on earth today, he would take advantage of the medium to preach the gospel of the kingdom. This medium, this vehicle that has been made available by which we can communicate and touch the world. If Jesus Christ was on the earth today, I believe that he would use this medium. Jesus spoke prophetically about the internet over 2,000 plus years ago. In Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14, it says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." When Jesus spoke those words 2,000 plus years ago, he knew everything, but he knew the time would come on the earth that we would have the vehicle whereby you can stand in one place by way of the internet and preach and teach to the nations of the world. So he already saw and knew that there would be a vehicle called the internet that we can carry the message out. Without the internet, we would be in the dark age again. We are so connected now to the internet that it impacts and affects all of our lives daily, directly or indirectly. Some way, somehow, we are all connected to the internet. And if it was taken away, we'll find ourselves as if we were in the dark ages. We really wouldn't know what to do. In fact, to make my point, when you leave your house, you're 2 blocks away and you realize you left your phone. You make a U-turn and make your way back because you feel as though you got to have it. If you don't have it, you're going to miss something. Forgetting that there was a time that you didn't have it. And you didn't even think about it because it wasn't there to think about. And you got along just fine. But now you have connected yourself to the internet, and you have this need to know. And so you keep something available all the time so you can stay connected. The internet is a vital part now of our everyday life. As I stand here now, we are streaming live. And the internet is carrying this broadcast into the air and moving around the world. So even as I speak right now, someone in Russia or China or any part of the earth can hear what I'm saying live streaming right now because of this potent, powerful method we call the internet. But let me shock you. You won't believe this. This is a startling illumination. The internet has always been here. Man's ingenuity has discovered what was already here. I see the internet at work in the Bible. In Genesis chapter 3, beginning at verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. Remember, he's the prince of the power of the air. He's the God of this world. He was more subtle or cunning and crafty than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea. Watch the yeas. Has God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Hear me well. Satan did not know what God said. God don't talk to the devil. But he was using a strategy to get Eve to tell him what God said. And the woman said unto the serpent, here it is, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So she exposed to him. She told him what God said about her. He didn't know that. That's important to know. And the serpent said unto her, ye shall not surely die. Watch this. For God does know. How many know that is not a revelation? God knows everything. He's playing the mind game with her. We are not ignorant of Satan's devices lest he take advantage of us. The only advantage that Satan have on us is our ignorance, our lack of knowledge. We don't know how he operates, but we can learn from this. For God does know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. And he's referring to knowledge. You're going to be enlightened. You're going to know something that you didn't know. An inquiring mind wants to know. Your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. You're going to know something now. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Satan planted a seed in her that caused her to wonder, what is it about this tree that God don't want us to eat from it? Every tree in the garden, he said we could freely eat, but this tree, he said, don't eat it, don't touch it. God must be holding something back. He convinced her of that. And she took of that tree, she ate, she gave it to her husband, and the eyes of them both were open. And they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig tree leaves together and made themselves aprons, trying to hide their nakedness. So Eve decided, I'm going to find out why is it that God don't want us to eat from this tree. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to Google God to try to find out from him. I'm going to try to get into his genealogy, his lineage, and see if I can trace and find out what is it about that tree that he don't want us to eat from. Can I help us today? Hear this all over again. You do not need to know everything. Some things you will learn that you won't be able to unlearn. Some things you will see that you won't be able to unsee. There are some things that God don't want us to know, because he know if we do, it will be a detriment to us. Is there anybody in here wish you didn't know some things you know? Not some people you know, just some things you know. He knew that if they get access to that knowledge, he said, the day you eat it, that's the day you're going to die. You don't need to know that. The Bible says the secret things belong to God, and the things revealed to us is for us and our children. There are some things that God is not going to tell us. And if you seek to find it, if you do find it, it could become disastrous for you. Satan used his internet on the internet to catch you in his net. Beware of the net. If Jesus Christ would use the internet today to preach the gospel, to bring souls into the kingdom, Satan used the internet to preach his message, to bring souls into his kingdom. And if you're not able to discern the difference between the two, you can get on the internet and wind up internet. The internet is designed to disperse knowledge, not dump trash. The original purpose of the internet is to put information that you can get access to prosper your mind, to empower you for success. But it was not designed as a toxic waste dump where you take your dirty laundry and put it out there so the world can see how messed up you are. Because, listen to this, the devil do not know your business unless you tell him. He's not omniscient. He's not all-knowing like God. God knows everything. He knows the number of hairs on your head. He knows your uprising and your downsetting. He knows your thoughts are for all. But Satan do not know your business unless you tell him. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking, looking for whom he may devour. Why he have to walk around look and seek? Because he cannot devour anyone. He's looking for the weak and the vulnerable. He cannot read your mind, but he watch your behavior. He learned your weakness from you. And so now, because of the way God created us, Eve went to that garden out of curiosity. Because the inquiring mind want to know, what is it about that tree? So she told Adam, I'm just going to go by and check it out. But God say, don't eat it, don't touch it. How many know you can't touch it if you don't go to it? When she got to it, she engaged in a conversation with the adversary. And he convinced her that the only reason why God is holding this back from you, because he knows that if you eat it, your eyes will open. You're going to become wise and become as gods. Lowercase G-O-D. But she had forgotten that God had already gave them dominion over the earth. When you don't use the internet for the right purpose, you may end up in the internet. A net is designed to catch something, to trap something, to hold something captive. And that is what's happening to many today. Because you must set boundaries for yourself. You must monitor what you allow to enter into your mind, your heart, and your home. You must set boundaries for yourself because nobody knows you like you. You cannot allow yourself to be placed in vulnerable positions where you know you're not strong there. If you're trying to lose weight, you don't hang out at Golden Corral saying, I'm going to just eat a salad. If you're trying to overcome alcohol, you don't go to happy hour saying, I'm going to just drink a Coke. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. There are some things and some places that God deliver you from. You shouldn't ever go back there again. Not even to be a witness. Be a witness over here, but not over there. You have to know yourself. You have to set boundaries for yourself. Proverbs 4:23. It says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. The Knox translation say, use all thy watchfulness to keep thy heart true. In other words, he said, use all thy watchfulness to keep your heart true, your spirit, your soul. That is the fountain whence life springs. We must protect and guard ourselves from allowing ourselves to get caught up in all of the stuff on the internet that does not pertain to God's purpose for our life. Now, let me say this. I would be foolish to even suggest to anyone not to use the internet. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we must monitor ourselves on the internet because it is destroying lives. It is powerful, it is potent, and it can destroy your life at your house. Don't be an internet browser. Be intentional. You should be intentional in every area of your life. If someone just saw you today and say, where you going? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to end up. You're not intentional, and you may end up anywhere. Where you going? I don't know. I'm just driving. I don't know. No, you got to be intentional. And that's the approach you must take when you get on the internet. Where are you going? What is your purpose there? Or are you there I'm just scrolling on along. And Satan will make sure you get access to something you don't need to know. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing expecting different results. Well, I have another definition for insanity. They call it Wallace's definition for insanity. Why would you take all of your personal, private information and show it to the world and want people to respect you? Who need to know the last time what you ate for dinner? How many dishes you did and how many dishes you did? Who need to know how much alcohol you could hold? What is it that causes us to connect to a medium and expose ourselves to the enemy? He do not know your business. He do not know your weakness unless you tell him. And once you tell him, he send his demons to come and get you. The internet, you open the door and you invite him in. Now we'll shout next Sunday. A few days ago, a week or so ago, I saw a sign on the highway about a particular dog that I had been reading about in the paper. Had never seen the dog. I knew the name of the dog. And I was just curious about what kind of dog this was because I saw the price of the puppies. I said, what kind of dog is this? And so we saw a sign on the highway with a picture of the dog, and if you was interested, call this number. And so we was traveling, so we took a picture, got the number, called the gentleman, and we had a conversation briefly about the dog. And the person that was with me, I was driving, I asked them to Google that dog, and they did on my phone. And of course, you know, I can't look at the phone and drive. So later that day, actually that night, I began to look at the dogs on my phone. It had a long list of different dogs, different colors, and the pedigree and the temperament. And so I'm just scrolling. Now, I said this a few days ago when I told this story, and this is going to shock some of you all, but that was my first time going on the internet. Yeah, Fred Flintstone, alley-oop. But I promise you, when I finish, some of y'all going to want to join in with me. Because the folks that stay off the internet going to be the only one with some real sense. So as I'm scrolling, some way, somehow, I run into a section that's really talking about preachers, pastors around the country. Most of them I've seen by way of television. The biggest names in the church world. In fact, I told somebody, I saw every preacher on there but me. I was missing. And I was just looking at all of the different things that was said and being said, and I ran across where two pastors was having a tug of war on the internet. You know, you could actually fight on the internet. And so they was having some theological differences. So they decided that they were going to come together and have somewhat of a debate. And they're going to post it on the internet. And it lasted about an hour and a half. I watched all 1 hour and 30 minutes of it. I started about 9 o'clock watching. I think I came upstairs almost 12 o'clock. I had never done that in my life, period, ever. But they was having this Bible discussion, and they were going back and forth, and then they had a little break, and it come back to part 2. And the power on my battery is going down, but I'm going to get the rest of the story.